Hello everyone, welcome to Othello Flips on how to start winning in Othello, Milestone 7. Without further ado, let's move on to today's contents. So for today, everything will be about poison. It's basically poison relating to quiet moves, edges, and wedges. Okay, poison discs are undesirable as they cause additional or unwanted flipping. It can cause a quiet move, potential or not, to be no longer a quiet move. Understanding this concept allows a player to poison his opponent's quiet move, to determine if an edge is worth capturing, recognize poison discs and check for potential removal, and prevent a swindle or wedge that's favorable to the opponent from occurring and vice versa. Okay, poisoning quiet move. Opponent's quiet moves can be tackled by removing or blocking them. And should the price in mobility be too high to pay for removing or blocking, poisoning the quiet move can be considered. So let's look at the board position. Okay, for this board position, it is black's turn to play. You may want to pause the video for a moment to observe the position. Okay, so one of the few things to take note is white has a quiet move at f3 over here. So black can try to handle white from playing a quiet move at f3. So what can we can observe some of the few options that black have. So if we're going to block in this manner, the price will be very high because it will cause black to eat up all his options along the G column here. And if he's going to remove white's access into here by taking this, white is going to just play a7 and eventually figure out a way to enter a8. So the options of blocking or removing quiet move is not good. So in this case, what black should do is to consider poisoning the move by playing f2, so that when white enters f3, it will cause additional flipping along this line. Okay, so basically this act is poisoning white's quiet move. Okay, let's look at another board position. Okay, over here, it is black's turn to play. So we are not going to analyze this from black's perspective first. So let's say if black plays b4 over here, the idea is if white takes this quiet move, black will take this quiet move. So you may want to pause the video for a moment and think where should white play. Okay, let's look at the exchange of quiet moves first. And you realize white's position along this edge is not very good. He has no access to a3. The move to a4 is poisoned. By playing a4, there will be additional flipping along this diagonal, which white will definitely do not want because black can just choose to feed off the edge. And white will be forced to play this, which is actually taking up too many pieces already. So let me go back a bit. Okay, on top of that, white does not have access to here. This causes too many flipping. This flips too many frontier discs. This flipping is not good either because if you realize a sandwich shape is actually being formed. So basically white's position is somewhat poisoned in this case after the exchange of quiet moves. Okay, next. So maybe white will want to do something with black's access into here. Removing the quiet move, the disk that gives the quiet move is not going to help much because black can actually reset it quite easily in this manner. Blocking does not help because it flips too many frontier disks. So what can be done here is white could actually attempt to poison black's move by playing f7. After which, if black goes ahead with his plan, white can just play the quiet move. And black does not have any good moves along the bottom edge here. This will just give away this move. And he'll be forced to play along the second row here, opening up more moves for white. Okay, let us move on. Okay, ease of removal. Recognizing poison discs is a bread and butter stuff for players who are at least on the intermediate level. Following which is checking if the poison discs can be easily or forcefully removed. Okay, let's look at the board position. Okay, for this board, it is white's turn to play. The purpose of this position is of introducing this position is to actually compare the difference between G3 and G4 for white. So you may want to pause the video for a moment and see which of these two moves is better. Okay, between these two moves, G4 will be better than G3 because if let's say G3 is being played, white can reply on F4 here, resulting in poisoning the C7 access for white, whereas previously the poison wasn't there. Okay, previously there was white C7 wasn't poisoned. So if G4 is being played instead, the move at C7 will not cause additional flipping along this diagonal. Okay, so you realize even a simple difference in capturing one disk can affect the poison on another square. Okay, let us move to another board position. Okay, for this board, it is white's turn to play. You may want to pause the video for a moment and observe the position. Okay, so over here, white's move at C7 is not a quiet move because there are poison pieces along here that will cause additional flipping should white play into C7. So what can white do here is force black to remove these poison pieces by playing D1. So black will have to defend a corner on H1 and will be forced to take at this edge. As a result, it unpoisons the column and allows white to play a quiet move on C7. Okay, let's look at the next board position. Okay, for this board position, it is black's turn to play. So you may want to pause the video for a moment and see what should black play over here. Okay, if it's white's turn instead of black, white will have a good move on f7. Okay, so a quiet move like this, cutting internally. So one of the few things that black should consider is whether can he actually hinder white from actually playing this smoothly. So he have to consider removing, blocking, or poisoning the move first. So if we are thinking about removing and then trying to take away these two pieces that gives the access here, which is actually not very practical because you're going to play an isolated C square. And on top of that, white will just recreate the access easily this way. Okay, next, you may want to consider blocking. However, it's going to eat away these two frontier discs. So you realize this position to some extent, you can treat this like the ingredient of the sandwich and these two parts as the bread. So you may not really want to eat away that bottom section in that manner. Okay, you are flipping two frontier discs, which may not be advisable. Okay, and the third option is to poison it. The only way to poison this move here is to play g6, which can be considered because now after that, white, because flipping along, additional flipping along here, if he chooses to play that. However, if black chooses to poison this way, white can still play another move over here. And this time, you'll realize that black cannot play a5 anymore because white could just play a6 due to the fact that in the first place, this is being removed by black. So black's best option over here is actually to ignore white's entry into f7, take advantage of the fact that there's a disc on the exterior here, and play a5. Mainly because right now, white is not going to do this because it's going to flip too many frontier discs over here. At the same time, this will cause this flipping and takes away the quiet move there. And what's so good about this move is after, let's say, white plays this or this, black could just play into a3 as his second move. Okay, and after that, if let's say white plays this move, black can actually still continue something like this, or maybe like this is also possible. They're all playable. So let's reverse the position a few steps. If white chooses not to come in and place this instead, it's also possible. And after that, black will play g3. Why g3? Because you flip this critical disc to provide access here and to provide access here. Okay, let's move on. Okay, poison and edges. Okay, developed edges are usually recaptured in the endgame if there's any potential for capturing it at all. So especially in high-level games, corners are usually surrendered late. So hence, once the edge is being developed or captured, the color of the discs actually do not change easily. And these edge discs lie on the exterior of the disc formation, and they can potentially cause unwanted flipping on the adjacent sides during the opening or the mid-game phase. So during the mid-game and end-game phase, the edge discs on the opposite sides of the board can also cause poisoning too. Basically capturing and developing, especially developing the edge or capturing the edge, will those H discs will cause poisoning during the course of the game because those discs do not change color easily and they lie on the outside of the whole disc cluster. Okay, let us look at a board position. Okay, for this board position, it is white's turn to play. It is basically to explain on H poisoning. So over here, one of the few things white should not be doing is to take H7. It may seem like a simple move, like taking here, making use of the move to make black play here to give more pieces to white, but it is actually not efficient. Why? If you realize in original position, white could play this one, followed by this move on the next step. If let's say plays this, black plays this, white could play this move, two quiet moves. Okay. However, once white capture H7, you will realize that the move at E7 is no longer quiet and cause additional flipping, resulting F7 no longer available to white because the capture this along the edge causes poisoning along this diagonal. So when capturing edges, the player should be aware of the poison that the edge can cause on whether he can actually handle the position with the poison. So naturally, E7 is the best move over here. On top of that, E7 is also better than A5 because E7 prevents A3 immediately. Whereas if white plays A5, black still has the A3 option over here. Okay, let's look at the next board position. Okay, so over here for this board, it is white's turn. So in this case, white will play A4. So this is actually to show how a position like that is actually derived. So it's a common position in Othello. For black, he will have to decide either to take A7, which will give him the tempo, but you'll poison the area around here, or black can choose to play somewhere else instead and give white A2, which is an extra move for white here. Okay, so you may want to pause the video for a moment and see whether black should play A7 or not. Okay, so let's look at the options available to black. So if let's say black chooses to play A7, there's kind of only one proper option for white here. What white should play is H6. Okay, so what is white's plan over here? And that is if black plays H7, white can actually enter G6 and tossing this poison frontier to black to actually play. So you notice there's going to be a lot of unnecessary additional flipping in multiple directions for all the moves. Even for a move like this, although some of the pieces are being flipped on the interior, white could just play a quiet move here, and black still have to try to tackle the poison. Okay, let us reverse back a few steps here. So that is provided black decides to take H7. So you notice that black's move at B3 is being poisoned by these two pieces over here. So black has another option out of this, and that is choose not to take the H, but instead play at G6 and threatening to take h7 on the next move. That means instead of giving white this move here, he plans to take this move and this move next. So in order not to run out of moves, white will actually have to play h2, and this results in black having a quiet move at b3 because this whole row is being unpoisoned. After which, if white chooses to creep here, he'll remove the poison dish to c2 and allow black a quiet move. So in a sense, this is playable for black. Okay, so we have observed that black's a7 is playable. How about the other option of not taking a7? Where can black actually play? So we will say that f1 is reasonable because it does not really provide any additional moves for white except for maybe the back squares over here. And so if let's say white takes the tempo after f1, white takes the tempo here, black can play into e1. So white will actually not like this position because of this temporary diagonal control, or maybe permanent diagonal control, depending on the situation that black has, resulting in no quiet move at this spot. So maybe the a2 option isn't very good. So in order to defend this diagonal, in the event that black goes into e1, white could actually attempt to play this move first, flipping these two key discs, so that e1 will not allow a diagonal control here. After which you notice that black cannot be playing g6 here. Why? Because the scenario is a bit different. If white plays here, the same situation will happen. But there's no unpoisoning or anything because this will remain black. So what should black do is black will be forced to take h7, after which white will go into g6. And black will be forced to take this tempo, and white plays into g8 next. Okay, and black will have a relatively poisoned position over here. So in conclusion, for this particular board position, a7 will be playable for black. Okay, as compared to not taking a7 and choose to go the f1 route. Okay, let us look at another board position. Okay, you realize that this is actually quite similar to what we saw for the last board, except that I added two black pieces over here. So there's some sort of changes. So same thing, white will play a4. And you will want to pause the video for a moment and decide if black should take a7 or play into f1 instead. Okay, so let us look at the a7 option first. If black were to play a7, white will actually go into g8 here. Okay, and after which black's options is actually quite poisoned. So I think the best option will be maybe a d2 here. Okay, so why d2? One thing is white does not have access to c1 to actually just play a quiet move along here. Playing white also does not have option into e1. Playing a move like d1 may seems to be cutting the internal. However, it gives a quiet move for black on c2, resulting in poison options for white over here. That means if white plays b3, it's going to flip additional things that he does not want. In a way, this kills off all options that white has on the top left. Okay, so in this case, d2 will be good for black, but white can still play something good here. I think it's b2. Yes. Okay, and after the b2 move, if in the event that black takes the a1 corner, or maybe play some other moves before taking a1, he will not be able to defend the a2 square from white and allowing white to just strip down later. So for example, after this, maybe white goes c2 and the access is being built in. So there's no way black can stop it. If black doesn't take the corner, and let's say place this move instead, I think white can still play this. It's still safe to say that white can still do this. So black does not have any options left. Definitely not this, not giving this away. Not this, not giving this away. If black plays this, white is going to still come into a2 and just strip along here. Sorry. Just strip along in this direction. Okay. So in conclusion, the a7 move is actually not favorable for black. How about the f1 option? So if black takes f1, okay, and white takes the extra move, take note that this time there's no way white can actually try to gain entry into d2 should in the event that black plays e1. I mean, this place has been blocked up, so there's no way white can access. So white will be forced to take a tempo here to preserve his mobility. After which, black will take e1, and white have a few options here. This is one of them. Okay, this is playable too. Okay, after which black can still play d2. So this is a playable position for both colors. I will say it's rather even. Whether is it draw or not, I do not know. Okay, for those who are wondering, the case of a potential stoner trap here, that means in the event this happened, okay, the stoner trap will not be very efficient because white could actually just play g7 and entry into f8 will be poison in this direction. Okay, and oh, think of the stoner trap. I think I missed something in the last board position, which is actually interesting. So let us take a look at it again. Okay, over here, what I missed was this sequence. So after the G6, black plays this one, white plays this. Okay, talking about stoner traps here. If this is black, there's a chance for a stoner trap, correct? So if let's say black plays this move, white can actually defend the stoner trap by playing this move first, flipping this, so there will be no diagonal control. So in the event if black plays this move, white will play here, resulting in a poison position for black in this area. Okay, so that's what I missed out just now. Okay, let us move on. Okay, the final section on poison and wedges. So the presence of poison discs can make or unmake a wedge. When squeezing into empty isolated gaps made by opponents, you definitely want to fill up all the gaps by yourself And having poison pieces can actually undo all that. In positions with potential swindle, the presence of poison pieces can prevent a swindle from occurring. Okay, let us go to a next spot position. Okay, for this spot position, it is white's turn to play. You may want to pause the video for a moment and see what should white play here. Okay, one of the stunning obvious things about this position is white cannot effectively attack the top unbalanced edge immediately, because once white plays into here, you realize there's no poison disc along the G column, so black can creep into E1 without flipping here and go into H1 later, which will cause a very sweeping and winning position for black. So what should white do here in this case is to play A4, lock this black disc here. So in the event, if let's say black plays B3, which is a quiet move, white can actually attack the unbalanced edge now. And now the G column is poisoned because the G5 disc is being locked there after the sweep. Okay, so the action of playing G2 is a form of wedging, I mean squeezing into positions. So it is made possible because of the presence of a poison disc over here. Okay, let us look at the next board position, which is the final one for the day. Okay, if you're a new player, getting slightly better, you will not want to miss this position. This is white's turn to play. It is something I've covered before. You may want to pause the video for a short moment and observe where should white play. Okay, if you can recall, I've actually explained this spot position before in a few videos back. So in this case, B2 will be good, because in the event if black takes the A1 corner, white can play into A2 followed by D1. Okay, which means white will have two moves here, for which for the two turns, black will have to play at this area, eating up his options. Okay, but that's not the only purpose of this video. You realize there will be situations where a wedge here is not possible. So let me make some amendments to the board. So for example, if I change this into white instead, you realize that in this case, the presence of this will cause unnecessary flipping, which you do not want. So what will happen if you play into B2 here instead? Black will just go inside here, and you will not have a double move. If you play here, it will be worse, because black has the option of not playing inside here, and it can affect your parity as white. And if you choose not to play inside there, good luck. There's not actually much options here. You can't play here. This can result in this potentially. I do not know if the best, but it looks bad enough. Or playing this will still also result in this, which will result in this, and still no access for white here and here. So it's actually quite bad because of just one poison disc over here. So basically, is that all to this position? I could still do some changes. So from here, you'll realize that Othello, whatever theories you learn is actually can be situational sometimes. The board position, some things can be done, some things cannot be done based on the color of certain discs, whether there's poison or no poison, etc. So now I'm going to change this disc to black. Okay, and it's going to affect the whole situation again. Why? Because if this time B2 will give a temporary diagonal control, which means black has no access to A1 and has to work for it. So in this case, black can gain extra tempo in this manner. And that is black will be forced to play one move on the outside here. That means, let's say he tries to cut inside here. So before black can enter A1, white will run into A2 first to squeeze in, so that white has the last move in this region. Should black play A1, white can just happily wedge in. Okay? So in a way, white has end a tempo because black will be forced to play another move here. Okay, so over here, taking the corner is not the best option for black. As I mentioned before, poison discs make wedges possible, but the lack of poison discs make swindle possible. So in this case, now that white has come in here, imagine if this is white, okay? Black will enter A1 without flipping the diagonal and enter A2 again, which is actually a swindle and will gain him tempo. So instead of playing H1 immediately, black will try to make this whole diagonal white by playing something like G6. So in the event should white plays this, the swindle will happen. Okay, black will take this followed by A2. Sorry, I mean B1. So naturally white won't play this, so white will do something, may play this or play this instead. Play this and play this again. That sounds like a good idea. So this is more or less an even position. Okay, so let us wrap up. Okay, so what we have covered, quiet moves can be poisoned besides blocking or removing it. Learn to check for poison discs and the ease at which they can be removed. Okay, developed edge can potentially poison a position. So you may want to consider whether you want to take tempos along the edge in the near future. How will it affect your mobility of your discs? Lack of poison discs can allow a wedge or allow a swindle. Lack of poison discs allow a swindle, but you need poison discs to make wedges possible. Or actually it works two ways for wedges. Okay. Okay, and this is the final video of this milestone series for beginner level. I'll be taking a short break to plan for future content for the Othello community. So if you have been enjoying my video so far, do click on the like button below, and that will be all. Thanks for watching.